Capricorn, this is your June 24 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, you might find these messages support you over the next few weeks. Thanks for joining me on the channel. It's Romy here. We are going to open up your month with the Ace of Pentacles. I do think June has a breath of fresh air feeling about it. We have rapid progress taking place, and for you, there are many reasons to celebrate. And even if you are looking around your pathways right now and you feel like there aren't enough reasons, then this is also a month where you're making time to create them. We open up with the Ace of Pentacles telling me that there's a stabilizing, influencing coming through to support your vitality, your energy levels, which is beautiful because we're, of course, in Gemini season working with your 6th house. And I do actually think you're going to have huge health downloads through the course of this month, really understanding in a new way what's good for you, your body talking to you loudly, almost like you're starting to become your own medical intuitive. And those experiences are going to continue to build. You'll be noticing more than ever before just how tuned in you feel, just how much more psychically aware you are, how much more telepathic you seem to become. And when we look into this first week of June, we've got Mercury shifting into the sign of Gemini on the 3rd. It's trining with Pluto, so I think there's an important sort of negotiation that has a lot of powerful connotations actually in kind of what it can do and what it can deliver for you over the coming weeks and months. We then have this really gorgeous aspect on the 4th with Venus and the Sun, this Kazemi aspect coming in, very influential, and it actually talks a lot about the way in which you are nourishing and sustaining yourself. And I think that loving awareness of creating the right conditions for things to thrive is something that you're really going to take to heart through this month of June. And then of course we build to the new moon coming in on the 6th, and here there's a stellium of energy in the sign of Gemini, and it really does herald the experience of like this feeling like a fresh start. And the rapid progress that can take place under the influence of that stellium also means, particularly for you with that 6th house, that there's a lot of changes that you may well decide to make in your day-to-day routines and things that are shifting, reprioritizing. And it almost feels like a new game plan is emerging for you quite powerfully. I think consistency is also a key for you. And again, there seems to be something interesting that's taking place in and around that new moon that's helping you to identify maybe the drop-off point of where you've begun things and you've not been able to maintain. There hasn't been a kind of a follow-through, or you haven't managed to get to the outcome or to the end point that you had initially set with your expectations. So keep an eye out and be really aware of what shows up, because you're going to see something differently. It's almost like you reprogram certain things, and it has a hugely beneficial long-term effect for you in your capacity to be able to prioritize and devote to things that really matter and feel like you're not going to give up, or you're really aware when you sort of get to that crossroads and it's just like that small, what seems insignificant decision that actually kind of is the thing that often is where the self-sabotage would start to arise. So really beautiful energy to capitalize on at the beginning of the month. And on the 8th, we've then got Mars shifting into Taurus. Really like this energy also, because in a fellow earth sign, there's kind of like a deliberate, methodical way that you want to take action towards something. 3 of Pentacles coming through here. Beautiful cards to be working with. Energies supportively influencing how this month is demonstrating to you that things are different, because sometimes we can feel that way where we become a bit jaded. It's just like it's more of the same, but there's genuinely a feeling for you, Capricorn, in June that it's just like, gosh, I really feel different. Things really do feel like they are shifting and changing in my world quite considerably. Now, you may have some important collaboration or the desire to want to come together in order to achieve or attain a specific goal through the month of June. I think you're also, of course, with the full moon in your sign this month, reflecting back to the new moon earlier this year and really thinking about the intentions that you had, the promises you made to yourself. And perhaps, easing up on yourself where you haven't quite made it to where you expected to be, but also really, again, finding reasons to celebrate for the accomplishments and where you find yourself. I think there are maybe a couple of important people that seem to be encouraging you and quite consistent in their, come on, let's get this done, let's do this, like, why are we waiting, stop putting this on hold. So maybe kind of divinely orchestrated to just help nudge you along with regards to something. But I actually feel like even if you've been resistant or procrastinating, the minute that you get stuck into something, you're going to get a lot of joy and benefit from it through the month of June. I also think we just need to be a little bit mindful that there might be a couple of things that, too many people or too much opinion can sort of water something down. So also be mindful of sort of maybe keeping a circle quite small in regards to something that matters, and particularly where it's just a seed. When we look at that ace, it requires some love and attention before it's quite ready. And, it's not that it gets spoiled, but just like too much opinion or too many different, conflicting energies can sort of almost like slow something down before it even gets off the ground. So keep that in mind. We've got the Emperor coming in, and let me just talk to you about perhaps one of the more tricky aspects through the month on the 11th, where Mars is going to square with Pluto. And of course we've got these themes around power and fear that get activated quite powerfully. Pluto being retrograde means a lot of that is directed inward, so it's how you're feeling about these themes. Now, you are challenged in some way, okay? So that could mean that there's a situation or some set of circumstances that arise that get you to look at these things or force you to face or acknowledge something. And the type of questions you might be finding yourself asking are, what's keeping me small? Or why do I feel so disempowered in this situation? Why do I feel like someone's pulling my strings all the time? And so these can be quite confronting in terms of the way that it's triggering us. But ultimately, what you're also going to notice pretty powerfully around this time is ways in which you have changed, and also again this sort of new game plan or strategy in order to begin making changes with regards to that. Now, remember what I said, it's about creating the conditions first, so it's not impulsive moves. And what we need to be mindful of, especially through Gemini season, is information can move very quickly. It can also at times become distorted, and so again, what we hear or how we interpret it, along with that challenging aspect, could be directly connected into people talking or gossip or just misinformation. But again, it's the thing that then triggers you. And I suppose there's always an opportunity then to reflect and understand the degree to which you allowed something to affect you that way. But ultimately, this is a healing expedition, as it always is whenever we feel challenged in any capacity. The challenge is simply an opportunity to say, well, there's new knowledge I need to acquire, and once I do, I'm going to know how to navigate this more powerfully. Now, we're then going to start to move into Cancer season, of course, your 7th house. And, often this is the time when we reflect and more deeply become aware of how our beliefs are shaped by the relationships. There's a mirroring energy that goes on around this time. And I think you're going to be able to see through the quality of your connections and relationships the degree to which you have changed. Now, the Hermit says, there's something being illuminated for you, beautiful, powerful wisdom coming in. And I have a firm feeling that this is arriving as we build up to this beautiful solstice energy on the 20th, when the sun shifts into the sign of Cancer. And of course, what's happening the next day is that full moon in your sign, Capricorn. Now remember, this is the first of two. Second one comes in on the 21st of July. So something very powerful taking place. And you owe it to yourself perhaps to invite some kind of a ritual in around this seasonal alignment. These rituals allow us to process our emotions, to have a safe place to land, and also to be open to receive the downloads, the information, communication that wants to show up for us. But there's something taking center stage around that time, and I think it's really potent, but it's also very cathartic in terms of your acceptance of something and what you're going to do. Now, It might take like through the rest of June and even into July to arrive at that next full moon before you sort of see the final culmination and release point of that. But it's almost like it's opening a portal, a really powerful portal, and you know a lot is set to change for you within these two full moon energies that are going to kind of dictate your summer season or winter if you're down in southern hemisphere. But it also shows me that, you know, in and around this time, there's a really beautiful opportunity to kind of feel supported in something. The Hermit tells me that, you know, initially we may withdraw to kind of receive the information or the wisdom that's necessary. You may even feel like someone's gone a little bit quiet on you around that time of the month. And, you know, perhaps understanding collectively there is a little bit of a vacuum energy in place. That will shift, but it might bring about some feelings again for you of loss or scarcity. I think there's also a feeling of, you know, either that someone else is letting something die or sort of letting something go, and you know you're kind of like, why are you doing that? Like you're not feeding this, you're not giving energy to this to help sustain it and keep it alive and allow it to grow. But there's also that understanding that everything has a season and a cycle, and that perhaps there's a timing component here that, you know, maybe you're not meant to be aligned or you're not meant to be part of that energy anymore. So there's definitely a reevaluation going on, but it could feel in some sense that it's creating a sense of loss or a setback or a challenge in some way, shape or form. I think what's set to happen though is a beautiful kind of turn of events where you really understand like what this message was about, what it was showing you, and perhaps what was being projected to you by your connections and relationships, and how that's actually helping you. You know, I think the lights that are on in the windows behind her are really indicating that, you know, there's a safe space and a safe place for you to go with these emotions, and that actually, you know, where we realize perhaps through the month of June what has been overly draining us and what we've been putting so much time, energy and attention in towards. And you know, there's a big sort of opportunity, I think, around the end of the month to say, well, is this worth it? Do I want to continue with this? And for some of you it might be like, yes, push through. You know, may have felt that that journey is kind of taken a lot from you, but it can still be deeply worth it, you know. And it's through the setback, the failures, the challenges, the difficult experiences that we learn most about ourselves. But remember what I said in terms of the key theme of this month, it's about reasons to celebrate. And I think that even as you go through some deeper emotional evaluations, you know, especially in the sensitivity of Cancer season, there's also this overarching energy, Ace and the Three, that talk about how much new growth and how much vitality and energy is on its way in for you. So even if you do feel a little bit physically drained, and remember, you know, again, I said you're going to be super like tuned in on a medical intuitive, you know, basis as to know the source origin of what it is that's causing this for you. And there's almost that sense of like, you know, do we persevere or do we call time? Like, I kind of think you're going to know the right answer in regards to that. I feel like there's a certain part of you that will figure out a different way to kind of complete that cycle. So it may be that something radical does change, but you're not necessarily like walking away fully or letting go of something completely. It's just the realization of like, you know what, there's a better way. And I think that's going to be important, especially in the way in which you talk to people and communicate like where you're at, what your position is. I also think you're set to receive some interesting news, and that news could make you stop in your tracks a little bit. There may even feel, with regards to that news, that there's something that's like a really big ask, and yet I think, you know, once you've had time to sort of process or contemplate something, I think you will realize like what the potential and the possibility is. You know, I think the whole of June acts as this really beautiful portal, and that Gemini stellium has this sort of way to zip us forward and kind of allow this fast track towards something. But in order to sort of harness that, there's reprogramming within the mindset that's very necessary, and to address from a foundational perspective what is perhaps preventing you from feeling grounded or building upon a solid foundation. Again, that's why I talked about the consistency and identifying the point where you may feel in the past it's dropped off, or where self-sabotage has come in, because I think how you're being positioned and what's being asked of you in the month of June demands like a new understanding of yourself and your own behaviours and patterns, and actually the shift and the change and the embodiment to, you know, who you are becoming. So last 3 cards we cover in the extended reading, Capricorn. You'll find the link in the comment and description box underneath. We talk for another 30 minutes or so, look at a personal card and a relationship question for you as well. I do hope you'll join me. It helps me to continue showing up to do the free readings every month. I'm just clarifying the main spread now, because we're going to see the direction we'll take that extended reading. So beautiful, Page of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. Lots of new ideas for many of you regarding sources of income and, you know, what's going on for you financially, monetarily. So again, wherever you find yourself, whatever those circumstances are, there's like a fresh wave of inspiration showing up that will be very welcome. Artist, 4 of Cups. What about this Hermit energy? What do we have? Wheel of Fortune, Queen of Wands. Okay. 5 of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, Page of Cups, 10 of Swords. Okay. 4 of Swords, 9 of Wands again. Just be real mindful around your energy levels, yeah. Taking some time out is necessary, you know. Even if you've got a new game plan, it's sort of like new game plan, but first, rest, yeah. All the cards are always listed below, and you can check out, if you're new to my channel, my website romywiser.com. You'll find my sacred titles over there. So that's my oracle deck, this one, Life Soul Vision. You'll also find my book, Moon Musings, ways to work with me, my sacred soul support, and my membership group. Beautiful guided soul meditations to help you on your journey. This month we've got a new solstice meditation for you. We've got full moon showing up, beautiful. Queen of Earth, I love that for you. I just really love that you have these 2 full moons this year. I think they're so divine and incredible in terms of how they're going to help to create that powerful catalyst mid-year for, you know, kind of what the next chapter looks like. Energy conversations, beautiful. Alchemize the 8 golden ribbons of light, blossoming soul song, gorgeous cards showing up for you for the month of June. Now let's have a look at one more oracle for you, Capricorn. This is for June energy. Oh, look at that. We've got your sign. You know what? There's 2 here. Okay, we'll take them. Capricorn, gratitude. We also have Aquarius, awe, ecstasy. Beautiful. Okay, we'll look at those in the extended reading. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the beautiful solstice energy. I do hope you'll join me on the extended. It really supports the channel. And I'll see you again next time. Take care.